Buddy, hope you're all well. Matty boy's in the house in a lovely shade of blue. You look like you're ready to go to the golf course.
Good Thursday morning. I am ready to go to the golf course, mentally and physically. But it's too cold outside.
You look like you're ready.
It is way too cold outside.
Hope all you guys are getting ready. A lot of our courses, we believe, are opening this weekend.
It's looking like a Saturday Open. That's the rumor. Yeah. Unconfirmed, but we're hopeful.
I think the golf. Do you think the golf course has got a little heads up on that? Because they seem to, like, it was more of an internal rumor from the membership, you know, or the pros out to the membership.
So the Premier of Ontario announced over a week ago that golf courses should start getting ready. That was their warning. They should say get ready to open. But I would imagine that they'll be ready to go because God knows everyone needs some revenue, right?
Yeah. They certainly do.
It's kind of hard to make any money in a seasonal business when the season is delayed.
It's funny. I was just talking about that with my mum, and obviously, you know, there's never a good time for this stuff to happen.
Of course not. No.
You know, we were supposed to be going to Portugal this weekend on a vacation with them and playing some golf out in the Algarve, and you know. There's places in Spain and Portugal where I'm very familiar with, obviously, because that's our tourist spots for people from the UK. They may never open again. You know, they make 12 months of money in 6 months when the tourist influx from April through to October.
You think it'll just be financially ruined?
Because of the timing of it. You know, everyone got locked down mid-March, and so they've been through their barren spell. They're coming into season. They wouldn't have cash reserves to handle this thing.
Nightmare.
And they're coming into the season, and there is no season.
True.
And there might not be a season next season. You know, so I think it's going to be, you know, quite the adjustment.
I'm hoping that the various governments of the world can help people get through it, but yeah, it is a living, breathing nightmare.
Yeah. For
businesses and people alike. All right, well, why don't we, without further ado, start diving in?
Dive in. Apparently, Big Al has a new challenge.
I saw his thing.
130 club head speed challenge. You don't need that.
My neck. I mean, I'll give it a shot. I haven't sniffed more than 124 in quite some time.
You've not, to be fair, you've not even really been thinking about trying to get there.
No. I hate to renege on a challenge, though.
Well, I mean, it's a bit of a kind of a, you know, unique challenge. I mean, how many people are there even out there that can swing at 130?
Also, the guy is literally 2 times bigger than me. Like,
literally, you could sew you and I together, and we still wouldn't be as big as Big Al.
My head is this big. Al's head is that big, and he's twice as wide and thick as I am.
Tell you what, it wasn't that long ago. 130 was close to the ball speed I was getting. Never mind the club head speed. It wasn't that long ago. I was 145 ball speed not that long ago with a driver.
Can you imagine? The club head's traveling faster than your ball.
It was miserable.
All right, let's get into it. I'm going to grab a couple to start.
Go for it.
It begins. All right. What role does torque play in driver shafts? Does torque mean more than gear effect? Would someone feel the difference between 2.8 torque and 3.0 torque?
No.
Over to you.
Negative.
No.
The role it plays is it gives you a sense of feel. Obviously, it's the torsional resistance. So what it does is it adds a certain element of feel to the shaft. So there's one way of making the shaft feel a certain way while playing a certain way.
Yes. Perfect example is the Acura RPG shaft that both of us are playing.
Yeah.
It is super stiff, but what's the torque rating? Like 3.7?
It's like 3.6, something like that.
So it plays stiff, but feels smooth.
You know, just as a little follow-up to that one, Marin says, I seem to hook low torque shafts. I promise you it's nothing to do with the torque. Yeah. It may be to do with how you receive the torque, how you perceive the torque. So you may be perceiving it that it's very, very stiff because it's low torque and you're flipping at it. Yeah. But I mean, you know, gone are the days really of manufacturers making super low torque shafts because they use better grade materials now. So they have more stability from the material content.
Torque was a band-aid, basically?
Torque was a band-aid for a while there.
Squeaky chairs.
sterile.
Squeaky chair bastard again. Can I grab this one really quick?
Yeah.
This is a brain freezer to start our day. From Jack.
Okay. Hello, Jack.
Jack, 14 handicap, G400 SFT 12 degree, turned down to 11, using the stock shaft. Swings it at 105 miles an hour, ball speed 140, spin 3,500, launch 10, face angle. Okay, my mess is 45 yards left. I'm assuming you're a right-handed golfer. I would say he's playing, I'll give my take first. Shaft probably too soft, too light. Doesn't need to be playing a draw bias driver if he hits it left, and probably needs to play less loft.
Well, I mean, the interesting part in there is the launch at 10.
Strike induced, probably?
Strike induced would certainly be a big part, but obviously ball speed's way down, spin is way up, launch is way down, so there's definitely strike issues.
Low, it's got to be a low heel strike.
If you look at where the path is and where the face is, and that's another thing, you know, Jack, you know, you may be cherry picking or just being a little selective on your face to path. A face to path relationship like that doesn't produce a 45-yard left shot. No. Not even with the biggest of big toe hooks.
You have to be a horrendous toe strike,
right?
but still.
So you are getting the face more closed than those numbers are shown if that is your miss. So, you know, honestly, best advice, sell it, start
Sell
again.
it, yeah. Just literally a wholesale
I mean,
start.
everything's wrong there.
That's a yard sale right
Everything's wrong. Spin is too high, launch is too low, ball speed is non-existent.
there. Ball flight sucks.
Ball flight is too far left.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole start again. It's a do-over.
Okay, good. Yep. Don't waste your money trying to tweak it. Start from scratch.
Yep.
Okay. Another quick one here from Jasper.
Okay.
Jasper swings at 107. What is a good CPM range in a shaft for him? Good question. 107 swing speed, CPM range.
I mean, I'm not really a believer, to be honest, in designating someone with a CPM in order to say, like, you know, because you can get, we've done this in the past before, you can get a shaft that is exceptionally soft in the bottom, a shaft that is exceptionally stiff in the bottom, and you measure them on a frequency machine and they're exactly the same CPM.
So it's a little bit too generic?
It doesn't mean anything.
Interesting.
It means something from a matching standpoint. To make sure that you have a sort of somewhat of a scale
Throughout your set?
Throughout your set,
Okay.
so that there's a kind of consistency going on. But don't be married to a CPM number. That's for sure. It is definitely way down the list of importance when it comes to characteristics. You know, at 107, you're a bit of an in-between guy. So you're right between a really stable, stout, stiff and a you know, fairly soft X. I'd be more focused on that, to be honest, Jasper. You know, be more focused on the shaft characteristics.
Makes sense. Okay. Morning from our pal Joe. Morning, Joe.
Morning, Joe.
Morning from another guy, Dustin. Morning, Dustin.
Morning, Dustin.
This is funny. Will's asking, first round back of the season, holy toe strikes and a lovely toe shank. Matt, any quick fixes and when you can't seem to do anything but hit the toe? If you find one, Will, please feel free to email me or call me. Call me directly, because I would love to know. If I could help you, I would have helped myself.
I would say you're doing the best you've done in a long time.
It's
with
better.
The heel strikes.
It's better.
Toe strikes, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what I've done. It's a little better, but yeah. Ask a qualified instructor, because clearly I'm not an expert on the subject. Grab one from the present there if you want, bud.
Grab. Well, super here. Thoughts on an upgrade to Kyoshi, upgrade from a Kyoshi White, I would imagine. Thoughts on an upgrade to a Kyoshi White, better materials and similar profile.
Kyoshi White's an older model.
Yeah,
is that fair enough?
Yeah, I think it's getting away from a Kyoshi White. I think it's just the
better materials with better profile. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. I feel like we need an O-band graphite training session just to get these questions.
You know what? I mean,
so many questions about O-band shafts.
The thing is with this type of question, Matty, is if you're looking to upgrade from the Kyoshi White, why not just stay in the Kyoshi White?
Fair enough.
Like it's the same as like a graphite design DI.
I do hear a lot of questions that you're actually it's very funny you say that. The number of times I see such and such a shaft works really, really well for me. What's similar? And I always think, who cares? Unless it's a price thing. If it's like, okay, this shaft is super expensive. Do you have anything in a more reasonable price range? That question I get for sure. But if it's just like, what else is similar? It's like, well, if it's working for you, just use it.
Stay with it. I mean, it's
just use the damn thing.
If you're looking to upgrade from it, it's not.
I'll let you dig for a second. Got some of our regulars asking about how the Bandit is doing. I know he's sick. I'm not sure what he's sick with, but yeah, we are a little concerned about our lad. Hopefully he's doing okay. Hopefully it's not anything more than a standard cold or flu, but hopefully he's doing okay. Yeah, lots of people chiming in about your trip to Portugal. Lots of guys loved the trip to Portugal.
Yeah, it's a hell of a place to play.
That's a place I'd like to go for sure. Absolutely, absolutely.
It is one hell of a place. Grab a couple more, Matt.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Okay, so from Mr. Hardy. Morning, gents. Morning, sir. He's very interested in the specs of the hazardous green Hulk. Tell me more about it. Happy to.
Stiff.
Stiff as hell.
Low torque.
We'll do you one better. So we made a video about it when it's called Testing Cameron Champ's driver. So I would check that video out. We probably went through all the specs in that one, I would think. Plus we hit a bunch of shots with it. So it is stiff as hell. Feels stiff, plays stiff. It is geared towards the Hulks out there. That's why Cameron Champ uses it, because he swings extremely fast. So, but yeah, watch the video. I mean, that's the best answer I can give you. We could give you 10 seconds of chat, but that video was quite thorough. This is an interesting question. I think you'll find this relevant. Evan's asking if he feels like he got a poor fit somewhere else. Is it frowned upon to come into TXG for a fit but wanting to keep the same heads in the irons and driver and shaft change only? Absolutely not. No. See that all the time.
No problem at all.
Yep, that's probably a super common situation. Someone comes in to make sure that, well, if they like the heads and the shafts working, or the head is working, the shaft is not working, why not come in and see what the fitters can help you out with? And
just generally speaking on that, you know, as a fairly broad piece of advice, don't ever be afraid to go back to the place you bought your stuff. If your stuff isn't working well, go back and sort of you know, and tell them and see if there's a solution, because there may be a solution. You know, if you come to TXG, there's probably a solution that involves spending more money. If you go back and you know, do it with the people you bought the clubs from, there's probably a solution that doesn't involve you spending more money. Just as a broad piece of advice, obviously we'd love to have you in and give you, you know, the peace of mind with your equipment that it's going to be working well for you.
Good, wonderful. You still looking at that Kiyoshi?
Yeah, I was in banding a quick message there just to see if he's okay.
Hopefully he's all right, eh? Said he was feeling ill. Carlos is asking about the 3-wood bracket. Carlos, I'm going to be fairly definitive in saying we probably won't do it, bud, to be honest.
At this point.
I know we said we'd do it, and I feel bad about reneging, but we've got lots of really good ideas and stuff. I just don't I just don't want to hit 400 3-woods. I just don't want to do it. I just don't. I like my 3-wood right now. I may just change the shaft. That's about it. We will give you better videos than that, I promise you. You will not be disappointed. Dan's asking about Arco sensors. Just got a full set of Arco sensors. Could you elaborate on the best way to use them for improvement? The best way to use them for improvement, Dan, is to use them. Get as many rounds under your belt as possible. Make sure you're thorough with it on the golf course. You don't have to check every hole on your phone to see if it was accurate, but once in a while you may find that a putt was missed or something. So, you know, every few holes, have a look and make sure that you're on track with where you were. And spend some time analyzing your data after a few rounds. Don't do it every single round, but once you get an average, even using it one round, I saw some pretty interesting patterns. I mean, it was so accurate as to the direction of fairway that I miss was so accurate. My pattern when I miss a green, it was unbelievable how accurate it was, saying like, this is the exact section you missed the green in. So I would say use them, just use them. There's no tricks up your sleeve needed. You just need to use the things and enjoy the data.
Absolutely. Arbucks is saying, a reminder for members to join the Discord server.
Yes, join.
Join the Discord server, yep.
If you have any issues with that, leave a comment below this video or any video and I will answer it. I'll give you a hand joining.
A few new members coming in. Nelson just joined in the gold level.
Welcome, Nelson.
Welcome, Nelson.
So Nelson, you'll be communicating with Chris Kendall.
Very good.
Online fitting extraordinaire, so enjoy that.
Very, very good.
Do you have one you want to grab?
Andrew is asking, he's new to golf with Callaway with a strata set.
Okay. Full
Wants
set.
to add a gap and lob wedge, but want 2 more clubs to make 14. Yeah.
Okay, so he needs 3 more clubs really.
4 more clubs.
4 more clubs.
Gap and lob wedge, and he needs 2 more. He's thinking of adding a 5. So don't add a 5. I would go with the hybrids one, Andrew. Go with the 3 and 4 hybrid. I think going a little bit shorter in length would be nice. You've got a 5 hybrid in there already. That's your 5 iron. So I think stick to that. And then obviously as you progress, you might want a little bit more sort of maybe add a couple of irons in there. Maybe add a 5. See how you get on with that. If you get on well with that, you know, at some point down the line, add a 4. But right now, I would say add the 3 and 4 hybrid, Andrew.
Gotcha. Caleb is asking about flipping right-handed and left-handed sleeves on a Callaway driver. Loft will be opposite from what it says between the white lines. How does that work? It's just the opposite? +2 is -2?
Correct.
-1 is, so it's straight up opposite, Caleb.
Straight up opposite.
Cobra does the same thing?
Or
am I mixing up?
The Cobra one is a bit more like the TaylorMade one in that the loft is standard is set in the middle. You can obviously loft down, you can loft up.
Yep.
So they have equal amounts of adjustability either side.
Gotcha. Ash is asking about, oh, you want to grab one?
Yeah, Ron's got one here. Recently purchased a TaylorMade original mini driver. Looking for shaft options. His swing is 76 miles an hour. You know, bearing in mind that you're going to be playing something obviously a bit short, Ron, that's obviously the idea. You know, try and get something around that 60 gram, maybe a 60 gram sort of a senior flex shaft would be ideal. Bearing in mind, again, cutting it shorter is going to stiffen it up. So 76, maybe just play a little bit. It'll play not quite as stiff as a regular flex, but not quite as soft as a senior flex. So in terms of options in that, I mean, there's so many. You can go into something like if you're looking at the aftermarket stuff, which we obviously have more info on. I would get into something like a Mitsubishi C6 Red 60A. That would be pretty good. Also maybe something like a Tensei 55A, which I know weighs up. So something like that would be pretty good.
Lovely. Okay, I'm going to grab this one that I half grabbed and abandoned. What do you think about hybrids that are low lofted 14 to 16 degree? What are the pros and cons? So based on what you've said, great alternative for someone that really struggles with a fairway wood. Hybrid, low lofted hybrid can be good if you're just really not having an easy time with a fairway wood in general.
If you're overly shallow, that would be the reason why you're not having a good time with fairway wood. So
someone to get the ball or hit down on the ball.
The shorter length shaft helps you get a little bit steeper.
Perfect.
Yeah, and also pushes the CG a little further forward, and it launches a little bit flatter.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, go for it.
Let's grab some. Daniel is deciding on his golf ball choice for 2020. He's down to the Bridgestone BX, TP5, TP5X. Launch characteristics for each, pros and cons. His driver swing speed is 105 to 110. By ball flight, it looks like he generates quite a lot of spin already. Well, if that is the case, I mean, they're all pretty low in spin, to be honest. I think you've got sort of TP5X is the firmest, lowest spinning golf ball. probably the highest launching golf ball. Then right in between that, you've probably got the Tour BX, and then you've got sort of TP5, which is feels a little bit softer, is a little bit more generous in the spin profile. It's still low spin, I would consider TP5.
It's not high spin
ball.
No, it's not high spin.
By any means. I would say we're both huge fans of the Bridgestone golf ball.
Great
the Tour
ball.
BX is, in my opinion, in the top 2 golf balls out there right now. I would put it 1 or 2.
That and Pro V1X for you,
That and Pro V1X for me are the top 2 golf balls.
Love it. Okay. We are actually really caught up today, so let's kind of
dive in.
Go right back to the bottom, and I'm going to grab some from just below where you were.
Perfect.
Joe is asking, can gears be used for putting? Yes, it can. We use gears. We didn't film that part. Oh, maybe we did. We used it at the TaylorMade Kingdom, Joe. So we were testing that truss putter, and they had gears in that lab. So it was gears.
You were using Quintic.
We used Quintic, yeah, but they did have. I mean,
they did have it.
Mike Lidgett was using it. So yeah, gears does work for putting. There's no reason why we couldn't hit putts in the gears area. So we'd love to see a gears video on putter grip size and shape. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think we'd like to do one that did a little Quintic data on that and then follow it up with how's that manipulating the stroke. Would love to do that.
Jacob's got a good question here. If tour pros prefer a forged iron to get better feel and feedback, why are the majority using wedges that are cast? Do you think forged wedges will eventually become more commonplace? Forged wedges.
If it was really that big of an issue, then why does pretty much, well, I shouldn't say pretty much, a huge sector of the market pro market using Vokeys? If they really hated the feel of a cast wedge, then Vokeys would be a no seller, which is not the case.
I think though, like what Jacob's just saying there, he's like, why do they talk so highly of forged irons, but they are very happy to use a cast wedge? Because most players are like at such a high number of people will use a Vokey.
Is it something to do with like the loft?
Ping. It's more to do with how soft that type of steel is. That they use, I think, 8620.
So it's like a super soft cast.
Yeah, it's very, very. I mean, the whole cast and forge thing, to be honest, is a bit of a nonsense anyway.
Fair enough.
You can make a cast club feel very soft. It doesn't have to be, rock hard and firm.
Also hit a few forged irons in here that are clicky as hell.
Exactly. I mean, there's 2 that spring to my mind that literally feel like you're hitting concrete. Yeah,
there's at least a couple.
Yeah, it is a good question. I mean, I think the reality is, in all honesty, Jacob, the guys don't really know what they like on tour. Not that they don't know what they like, but they don't know why they like it. They just know that they like it.
They're just used to it in most cases, right?
I mean, if you gave them a soft forged one versus a soft cast one, and they hit it right in the sweet spot, which basically means that they're getting less vibration, they're getting less noise from the strike. I don't know if too many of them would have bad feedback for you. I mean, think of the tour pros over the years who have used Ping blades, S55, S58s, all those sorts of things. They kind of never, those guys never were knocking down the door at Ping going, you have to make us a forged iron.
So true, like what Bubba won both Masters with a cast. Oosthuizen, same thing. Who else? Tons of guys.
Tons of guys.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is an interesting one.
Very personal preference. Let me quickly welcome a new member, Nelson. Welcome, Nelson.
Was that to the gold?
I don't know. I can't see on my end.
Nelson, we've already welcomed Nelson.
Okay, well, I welcomed him twice. Lucky guy you are, Nelson.
You're lucky man.
2 welcomes.
All right, J. John. 7 iron, 88 miles an hour is a low handicap. A fit player. Medium tempo and transition. Currently game and don't like the AMT3 S300s. Suggestions, best picks for shafts and flexes for Mizuno MMCs. You could play. You're kind of on the edge with that. You're probably 91, 92 with a 6 iron. You probably could get into certainly something a little bit stronger you know, you're probably on the edge of being like a Project X60 guy, maybe a C-taper, 120 stiff guy, that type of thing would be good. I'm trying to think what else Mizuno have in their lineup. I don't think you seem like you're maybe a little quick for Modus 120 stiff. You might even want to have a wee sneaky look at Modus 120X, just because that is a little bit of a softer feeling shaft.
Nice.
That's 3.
Good. Craig said he just installed his Arco sensors this morning. He broke 40 on the front 9 for the first time 2 weeks ago, looking to break 80 soon. Good luck, Craig.
Tell us more about that. You know, like
send us
what was it about it? Was it data that you were able to get, that you were able to learn as you went back out?
I'd love to hear that.
I'd love to know what it was.
That's good. Always like to see someone beating a personal best.
Yep.
Very satisfying. Okay.
You got one?
Yeah, I got a couple more. Okay, let's get this again, because this torque thing is very misunderstood. Would a change of shaft with higher torque help square the face if it's coming in open, or would adjustable weights in the driver head be a better course of action?
Much better to do the...
So the torque is an unlikely candidate for progress,
yes,
and the head weights are pretty much guaranteed to help.
Yes, yeah.
As we've seen, they are damn effective. All right, you want to grab another one?
Yeah. Thoughts on Patterson shafts? We haven't tested them. We have not tested them, unfortunately, Daniel. Spoke to them a little bit. They sent us some for testing at the end of last year. We haven't had a chance to dig in there with them yet. I know that they play very stiff. They feel and play very stiff from the feedback I've had from other people. Some of my friends use them to fit with. They said, generally speaking, very, very good for the quick tempo guys, the guys who are pretty aggressive. I think that obviously is one of the reasons it's so widely used on the long drive circuit.
Makes sense.
So if you have a good amount of speed, definitely a good option.
Awesome. Good. Okay. Let's grab this one about larger grips. Are thicker grip options generally good for arthritis issues? Do you ever do that? Just kind of a thicker, more vibration dampening?
No doubt about it. Yeah, grip pressure.
Now, he's having a bit of a concern at the same time as to whether that will encourage more open face, which is kind of what we saw in gears.
Yeah, but there's a lot of ways you can sort of negate the amount of, you know, that's the whole getting fit part of it. Right. You know, you go get fit and you know, the arthritis is something you're having to work around. Obviously, you know, joint pain is causing you an issue, so you want to relieve the amount of pressure that you put on the grip. And you also want to relieve any sort of unwanted vibration and impact. Something that people with arthritis in the hands fear is impact on the ground.
Makes sense.
Because it gets that shudder, that horrible feel up the hands, and so I would say gravitate towards clubs that are, you know, probably more like hybrids. You begin to sort of, you know, maybe get a little bit more of a sweeping motion going.
That's a good idea.
That'd be good.
Idea.
Even lengthen the clubs a little bit. You know, that would be the worst idea, just to flatten the plane of the golf club in order to get it work around your body a little bit more.
Just want to have it spending less time hitting the turf.
Less going down. You need to be picking that golf ball in order to really preserve the hands.
Save those hands.
Yeah.
Once they're sore, they'll be sore forever.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike has asked this question literally 1 billion times in the last 2 streams.
Mike.
Mike, the answer is
capitals as well.
We have absolutely no idea whether that shaft will work for you. There are 1 billion different variables that would make it either good or bad for you. You have to go get fit. There's absolutely no way I can give you advice on that.
Have it, yes.
Not doing you any favors if I tell you yes or no.
Yeah, hard to say. It's one of our 100.
Yeah.
If that means anything,
it's
Mike.
An option.
It's one of our 100. I think it's a good one.
Okay.
Here's an interesting one for us, Matty boy.
Okay.
Thoughts on the Fujikura Motori X line? I have had some people switch from Ventus Black to Motori. It seems pros are using it as well.
Can we admit what happened?
Can.
This past Monday around 3 p.m., we were filming a video with the F1 and F3 Motori X and comparing it to the Ventus, and the Club Connects adapter exploded about 10 swings in.
That is a blurry...
It's just sheared right off.
It's a blurry
it's hard to tell,
image
but
of the
it exploded.
Snapped tip.
So we had every intention, and we literally were filming it. Unfortunately, that thing broke. It's near impossible to get replacement parts right now, guys, so we will do our best.
I'm going to steal the...
you swipe one off?
The demo from
perfect.
Mississauga.
Okay, so we will do it. But yeah, unfortunately, it was... You would have been watching it, like, I don't know, later today otherwise, but...
So just to kind of expand on kind of what that shaft is, what we see it doing and what it is, some people comparing it to the Ventus Black. It's not comparable to the Ventus Black. It's actually not. It's not even as stiff as the Ventus Blue. Yeah,
it's a different animal.
Yeah. So the material content in the Motori line is 40-ton pitch fiber. The material content in the Ventus is 70-ton pitch fiber. So it's different materials. The Motori line will be generally for a really sort of wide sort of portion of the golfing demographic, which is why we think we're going to do very, very well with it in here.
It's funny when you say that. Like, a lot of the time you talk about something that's good for the wide range of public.
You sometimes just find that.
But a lot of the time, would you find that you're describing like stock shafts? This is the first time I've ever heard you say, like, this is a really good aftermarket shaft, well-made, quality thing. I'm finding it fits a ton of people. Is that common?
A lot of it has to do with the heads in the market.
Fair enough.
At that time, there was always periods. I remember, you would get a couple of months into your demo kit, and you kind of would just notice a pattern that every time you got a certain type of player, this combo was just the one. And actually, it was in the days before adjustable heads and shafts.
Oh, really?
Because you would look at your demo kit and you'd be like, holy moly, this thing's getting battered. And then you realize how often you're pulling it because it's just such a go-to solution.
That's crazy.
I had that quite a lot with like R7 Super Quad and Aldila NV. I had it with Burner Super Fast TP, the first version with Matrix HD6. You just find two products that just mesh so well together.
Partners in crime. Okay.
Yes.
Let me grab one here. Okay, what is the difference between the Tour AD DI 85S and the IZ 85S? And this is for a utility club.
Yeah, IZ is a slightly softer profile.
Okay, so DI is a bit stiffer throughout. Good. Quick and easy. Let me grab another one. Cameron's asking, how often are you fitting someone into an aftermarket iron shaft versus stock? Are there usually a good variety of stock options from each manufacturer? Yeah,
lots of good stock options. Actually, normally what we find our customers are looking for is it's more on the quality assurance side of the things from us, that when we build them, we are frequency matching, we are sort of weight sorting to the tightest tolerance. We find a lot of the time, or sort of often with certain products, we can have a run of products that fall outside of our tolerances and we're sending them back. We use a couple of methods when we're building clubs that OEMs don't use. They wouldn't identify that those were bad products in that process. So in actual fact, the likelihood of some dodgy shafts are far higher because they don't participate in this process. So the sort of grind and glue sort of approach, which is fine. It's mass production.
Yeah, it's a different world, right?
But at times, you can sort of see some examples of parts that are not quite as good as we'd like them to be.
Cool. Okay. I'll grab a couple quick ones here.
Okay.
I just had it here. Steven's asking, is the Titleist TS4 lower spinning than the Maverick Sub-Zero?
Is the
TS4, is it lower spinning than Maverick Sub-Zero? I would say they're pretty damn similar. They're both really low spin. Really low spin.
Would it be lower spin?
We haven't hit them both side by side, so I can't tell you for sure.
I think it certainly with, it would have the potential to be in that it's not quite as large a head.
Does it come in 8 also?
8.5, yep.
So
if you can turn it down to 775.
So potentially it could be lower spin because of that.
And if you put some more weight forward, if you get that weight kit, pop the heavy weight forward, you can get that weight all the way forward on TS4.
This is the weight here. Mm-hmm. I would expect it. You need to hit them side by side though, which we haven't done. Mm-hmm. Both this driver, when I tested, was one that I literally couldn't get in the air. So
grab one
you
here
got one?
From John. How much does limited mobility in a golfer due to back issues, hip issues affect the fitting process? Is it more difficult for you to figure out shaft flex? No, absolutely not, John. What you present is what you present. I mean, one thing I think people think a lot is that their situation is unique. Mm-hmm. They think that, because they're maybe not as fast as the people they play with, or they may have a shorter swing than the people they play with, that they have a short swing. The reality is in here we see everything.
See it all.
We know that not all 80-mile-an-hour golf swings are created equally. We know there's lots of different ways to swing the club at a certain speed. So, right. It's just part of our training and our sort of experience to just know how to deal with that. So, not difficult at all.
Good. Justin's asking about similar shaft options to the Tensi Pro White 6X. He swings at about 115 mile an hour. His launch conditions are pretty good. Spin might be a little high. Launch might be a little low. Mm-hmm. What are some other items on the wall that would be Tensi White?
10 launch. 10 launch. A lot of 10 launchers today. So Justin is probably a little on the steeper side to be producing those sorts of numbers. I would say a couple of shafts to take a peek at: Ventus Black 6X, Graphite Design XC 6X. You may want to have a look at Acra TZ5, 65 M5. Those three would be top.
Beautiful.
Top of the tree.
Let me grab another one while I'm here. Matthew is a new member. Welcome, Matthew. Nice. What is your opinion on Aerotech shaft products?
Good products.
You still you have some iron shafts, right?
We carry the 85 and 95 gram shafts.
Steel fibers?
Yep. We don't do the woods. We've never done those, but we do a little selection of the iron shafts. Very popular. People really like them.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Do you want to grab one?
Yep. Jeff is asking, how often should you replace clubs? I guess you're asking, should you get fit every time? And ball recommendation. The thing is with ball recommendation, Jeff, just address that first, is you want to get the clubs before you get the ball recommendation. There's no point in getting the ball recommendation until you have the clubs and have gotten used to the clubs. Mm-hmm. We get that people a lot. Can we add a ball fit onto the club fit? Well, it really depends how different your flight is going to be with the club fit.
True enough.
If you're going to have a whole different sort of ball flight, then we want to see what that ball flight's like before we prescribe a specific ball.
Makes sense.
A ball recommendation. All right, sorry.
Yeah, how often should you replace them?
How often should you replace them? I think every 3 to 5 years should be the fitting window for most people.
Wedges, would you replace more often because they wear out?
You could, yeah, you could if you're playing upwards of 60, 70 rounds a year. You probably go every couple of years on wedges. Good. And putters, you could probably do less.
Yeah, of course.
So there's those sorts of trade-offs. And fitting every time, yeah, that's the thing. And by the way, when you're getting fit every 3 to 5 years, there's no need to have to change the clubs every 3 to 5 years. Just get a checkup and see how your club stands, see how much you've changed as a player, etc., etc.
Love it. Okay. Hunter's asking, is it uncommon for a player to have high speed and low spin, and how would that combination affect your fitting recommendations?
Speed is uncommon.
Yeah, so me basically, high speed, low spin. How common is that for you in a fit?
Do you think? Well, I mean, you're not low spin on an iron.
No.
So you're only.
I was pretty high speed, low spin on my driver for most of.
For a little, yeah, for a bit,
life.
Yeah, mostly strike induced though, that wasn't it?
So it comes down to someone that probably leans the shaft and/or strikes high on the face.
Spin loft, yeah. It largely comes down to
so
spin loft.
with that type of person, you generally look for something that's a little bit more of a higher spin combination.
Yeah,
golf
Hunter,
ball.
I mean, you're a dream for a fitter. We love to see that one because...
Oh, is it easier?
Easy, very
okay.
easy. Yeah, yep. So normally the one, you know, not that we struggle with, but the one that's a real challenge is the extremely high spinner. But in this day and age, it's changed an awful lot. I mean, we used to fit people, you know, we'd be fitting people, they'd be walking in, they'd be spinning their drivers at 5,000.
Really?
Yeah.
That was happening.
Yeah, and like they would walk out spinning at 35, 100, and you'd be like, that was
good job. Yeah.
You know, and nowadays, you know, no one really has to do that. It's one of the reasons that people hit it so much further is because, you know, almost everyone can kill that spin right now. Yeah.
Pretty much every driver on the market's not going to make the ball spin.
And if you don't, probably you get sent to take a few lessons.
Yeah, true enough. Okay. Austin just subscribed to the channel. Welcome.
Welcome, my man.
Welcome, Austin.
Welcome.
All right, over to you.
Ryan is playing a Modus 105X. Swing speed is 96 on the 6 iron. Everything feels fine and the lighter shaft has helped increase my ball flight, but they do tend to go a little right. Should I change the shaft? Well, if they feel fine, for a start, you're swinging quite quick for that shaft. 112 grams is a little bit on the light side for me when you're swinging at 96 miles an hour. But you say you hit it fine and you like what it does, so we'll say that's fine. The ball going to the right, I would say, is probably more to do with your lie angle. So address your lie angle, you should be able to straighten out that flight without having to address the shaft.
Beautiful. Okay, Andrew has a G410 3-wood with the CK Orange 70, hits it very well. Is it safe to think if I buy a G410 driver with the CK 60 Orange, if I don't want to get fit given the world situation? Fair enough. Fair to say he would have some decent results with that?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption, Andrew, and you know, fair play to you for, you know, that's trying to logically think around working with. Then people are going to be doing this a lot. I think we spoke about it on Monday,
yesterday,
about people and getting fit to similar recommendations if they want to change from M6 into Sim Max. You know, we can advise you on the differences that you're likely to see with that and whether that's a good fit or not.
And shaft pairings,
all
and
that sort of stuff.
Cool.
So yeah, it's the new world that we live in.
It is, hopefully for not that much longer. Whisker says his TXG bucket hat is on the way. That is true. They are shipping out. Young Jamie's doing that as we speak. Send us a picture when they arrive of you wearing it. Love to see it. To you.
Just reading here. So what would an ideal fit to build, etc. TXG timeline look like? Given fit to build timeline look like? Well, fit to build timeline look like, Whisker, is 2 weeks. Given ball is fit after build, etc. Yeah, I would say, and even after that. So if you're asking like how long does it take to get clubs, it's approximately 2 weeks. But I would send you away for another month with your new clubs.
Before you pick a ball?
Yeah, because again, there's that period of just getting used to them. So, I mean, one of the things that I think we're going to address in the next, actually it's on the docket for today, is how to select a golf ball for a player. So I think we can probably offer a pretty good self-serving sort of approach to this. Obviously, the difficult thing is you got to go buy the golf balls. That's the difficult thing.
That's true.
But in terms of, I think you can probably, through a process of elimination, characteristics, price, feel, that sort of thing, you can probably narrow it down to three sleeves.
Yeah, and then you can pick.
And then you can go and do your sort of work with that.
Nice. Did you grab this one from Ryan about Modus 105X?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I can grab something, unless you're ready.
Tony is a throwback shaft question. Any thoughts on the old Matrix TP6 HDE?
Tony Stark Iron Man.
The Iron Man. Let me know if you're talking about the TP-HD or the TP-HDE, Tony. They're different because the TP-HD was white. The TPHDE had the Ion Snowflake shaft graphic to it, which was incredible. Absolutely loved that shaft.
Did you?
Oh man, I absolutely loved that in a driver. Most expensive shaft at the time I think it was we used to sell them for $1,400.
I remember hearing of a shaft that was like over $1,000,
Yeah.
and that must have been the one you were talking about.
That was the one. It was awesome. I absolutely loved it. It just did the most unique graphics. I think there was only one place in the world that could apply those graphics to it.
It better have been unique for $1,400.
$1,400.
So do your dishes, rub your back. Rob, new member.
We used to sell a few too.
Welcome. Yeah, there's always people that are interested, right?
Definitely.
Why not? The best and finest out there. Okay. Let's just keep going, shall we?
Phil is, I'm just going to say, Phil is saying, Ryan, don't feel obliged to buy clubs the day of the fitting if you're at all cost conscious. It's okay to check price online or with your golf shop. One thing I'll say to that, Phil, you're not wrong. The one thing I will say to that is be conscious of who you buy from, with regards to making sure that there's a service associated to the purchase. You have to make sure that that purchase isn't done purely on price at the moment, because that price, it may help your pocket at that specific time, but you run into any problems with those clubs, there's no ongoing advice from the fitter. There's no ongoing loft and lie service where you can get them adjusted at any time if you have a lesson. I think there's a little bit more to that conversation than just like get it for the lowest price possible and then abandoning sort of all other.
Well, people are assuming that the clubs
issues.
are a commodity, right?
Yeah.
Which they're not. They are, if you buy something off the shelf, one place versus the other, fine. But if you're having something custom built, and as you say, the after the fact stuff is a differentiation. So you should at least do your research. Like, why is it cheaper at another store?
Yeah.
Are they just literally hucking the stuff in a box and giving it to me? Or are they are they building a relationship, like you say, that gives me some peace of mind after I've paid my money?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of almost would never go into a purchase of like electrical goods. Mm-hmm. I would never buy something of high value from an electrical goods store without knowing that if something happened during a 5-year window that, I was protected.
It's like buying a TV off the back of a truck, and you're like,
it's exactly what it is.
It doesn't break.
I mean, you can do that if you want to save some money, but what happens when you turn that thing on and the bulb goes pop, and then it's money wasted.
You're screwed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm passionate about that. John Dupuis.
Yes.
Dupuis, you have jinxed us today on the no thumbs down.
down.
I was looking at that on the no thumbs down all day, and then as soon as someone mentions
someone presses it.
Someone does it just for shock value.
I do like that now. The thumbs down is more than likely someone who watches and enjoys it anyway, and they're just screwing with us.
Devastating.
Okay. You didn't get this from Joe Lane yet, did you?
No, I haven't seen that one from Joe.
So Joe is saying, quick transition over the top, sometimes hits it high spin, early release. He wants to look for a flatter flight, Elevate Tour or Modus 120. Mitsubishi DF or Acura RPG. So I'm assuming he's asking iron shaft recommendation and then driver shaft recommendation. Elevate is definitely not going to flatten anyone's flight, fair to say, right?
No, it's the opposite.
DF versus RPG.
RPG for sure is going to be a little bit stiffer in the tip section. Joe, you're definitely. I think you're maybe in the wrong end when it comes to the shaft profiles. I think you definitely, you're in the sort of shaft profiles that are going to kick it up a little bit if there's any amount of improvement there. So, I think on the shafts that you're looking at, maybe be looking at something like Dynamic Gold 105.
Okay.
If there's a weight category that you like, maybe something like AMT. I mean, you're going to want to play something that's a little bit stronger in the tip section. Maybe Project X 55. maybe C-taper 110, you know, that type of thing.
Gotcha.
Caleb is adding on from his earlier super chat. Callaway's saying it's...
So this is the lefty-righty sleeve thing.
Callaway's saying it's what is located at 180 degrees opposite the marked loft. So +2 is really -1. So +2.
We have a Callaway sleeve sitting somewhere.
Well,
Stand by.
The easy solution for you, Caleb, is to buy a. Either buy. It depends if you're looking to. What was Caleb's original question? Was it to loft it down 2 degrees?
He was asking what the right-hand, left-hand sleeve switch does. Like, what's the exact number switch? Is what he was asking. Do you have one in here?
Yeah, it's the first time I've heard that, Caleb, to be honest. And
so here's what he's saying. I haven't
seen this from. Well, so, but basically.
So +2's there, and he's saying flip it 180, -1's there.
Correct. But I think I guess what he's asking is what's the consequence of being like those, because like at the end of the day with this one it's not a case of like flipping it that way because the cogs are independent of the sleeve. So you know,
because you might be closing the face.
You're going to move those relative anyway to create the adjustability. I'm assuming what Caleb's asking is if you go +2 on a lefty sleeve or righty sleeve,
are you -1?
Yeah, what is the effect for the other dexterity on the head, which is to have the equal effect in the opposite way
Direction. Yeah.
So like 2 degrees +2 degrees becomes -2 degrees.
That makes more sense to me. Because what would be the point?
It has to be because it's the way the head tilts.
Yeah. What would be the point of having +2 equaling -1?
That's like saying if you take a head so in order to create 1 degree, it's a different effect if you open or close it because you're tilting the head from standard.
Yeah.
So you're tilting it 2 degrees up. You're tilting it 2 degrees down. It's the same. It's the same amount of adjustability off standard,
but reversed.
Yeah, because it's off of that neutral axis.
Okay. Well, Caleb, go with that. Go with that. Daniel's asking about bending his 919 tour irons 2 degrees strong. Will the reduced bounce greatly affect playability? And if so, are there any other options for stronger lofted blade-like irons?
I think if you're looking at that, I mean, you're straight into T100S.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Is
2 degrees strong too much?
No.
So the bounce won't be completely screwed by that? He can be okay?
Won't be screwed. That's kind of what most people say is like the most you should.
So probably go with that versus buying new irons.
Yeah.
Not all of a sudden, unless he's like super steep or something already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or, I mean, there is the option as well, if you're working with an experienced club builder to kind of do similar to what I do, which is take, it's kind of move down the loft. So I don't like to strengthen to achieve a loft. I like to weaken to achieve loft. So I would go 9-iron weak rather than pitch and wedge strong.
Would you literally have someone's set have different numbers on it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. As long as, because the only thing that matters is the head weight.
Yes.
The difference between obviously the head weights as you go is you just need to make sure you start with heavy heads and you add a little bit of weight. So if I was doing it, I'd be looking for about 4 gram heavy heads and adding a 3 or 4 gram weight plug into the hosel, which is, over 200 and something, 270, 280 grams. 4 grams is nothing. It's a drop in the ocean.
Gotcha.
So I'd be going that way to minimize offset.
That's interesting. I knew you did that with wedges. I didn't think that was really an option.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see sneaky new Strixon driver picks?
Yep.
Who released those? I know Mikey posted them, but
they were. I think the black and white pictures are normally the
conforming?
USGA conforming list.
So can you just go on and like Google that? How do people access that?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I was on the phone with Cleveland Strix the other day, chatting to them about it.
Are they stoked for those drivers?
Yeah,
they look nice.
Yeah. They're different. There's
see what Mikey's thing was.
There's new tech. There's so the The new 5 Series has 1 weight in the back. The new 7 Series has weight in the toe and the heel. In the past, they have been a little bit too sort of draw biased.
Fair. They've been upright.
Yep. So they're producing a driver that is very, very anti-hook.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they are working on a new technology. Can't talk too much about it, but they're working on a new sort of technology from a frame strength perspective.
Very cool.
And a new profile as you look down on it that I think will match a lot of what people currently perceive to be the way a driver should look.
Players look. Nice.
Players, but
modern players?
More specific to what has been very popular for about 15 years.
Okay, fair enough. Are they still going to release those this year, or we don't know?
They are.
Nice.
They are. Yeah, we will see them. Well, you and I were supposed to be going out there to do the launch with them.
Oh yeah, when was that supposed to be?
August.
August.
Yeah. So
Shed a tear for that trip.
I know. So no, we will still see some new irons and some new wedges. New wedges coming from Cleveland.
Wedges.
Yeah,
Lovely.
which sound really, really exciting.
Nice. RTX 5 is probably what it is.
It's called something different.
Oh, nice.
So there's a whole new sort of name moving away from the RTX line.
Sweet. Cool. Russell, new member. Welcome, Russell. Thanks for joining.
Interesting one, Joe. Joe is asking, what is the opposite of club deflection?
Club deflection?
Mm-hmm. The opposite is no deflection.
No movement.
No movement.
Is he referring to like when you hit a certain part of the head and it does this?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's more of a question relative to shaft deflection, lead or trail, or upper. You know, obviously you don't get up because the weight's pulling the shaft down, but there's various amounts of on the sort of XY axis that we're looking at it. You are going to have some force placed in the shaft. There's never going to be no force.
Gotcha.
The shaft is always moving because of the forces applied to it.
Can you grab that one right above Broden?
Broden is asking 6-iron X100 9697, but his driver year is 110 to 112. I know that progression is not enough. Should be. Broden, the cause of your lack of ability to increase by a significant margin is down to your swing sequence. When it comes down to adding power and you can't find it, it's because of the way you create power. Something I suffered with for a long, long time. I was always able to swing 6-iron, 95 miles an hour, but there was a point where I could swing a 6-iron at 93 miles an hour and I couldn't swing a driver over 100 miles an hour.
Really?
Yeah. My swing sequence was so bad with the driver. So I had to work for several years at improving my swing sequence. And now it's about 20 miles an hour apart, which is what you should see.
That's what you want to see?
Yeah, 20 is about right.
Nice.
I think at the slower swing speeds, 12 to 15. So if you're 80 miles an hour with a 6-iron, 92 to 95 is about right with the driver.
Yep, makes sense.
But at tour level, you should see definitely see around 20.
Got it. So that's just some swing work there.
Aye.
Okay, Matthew, this is a good little two-parter. Any chance you guys can do a video on what the most forgiving blade is? Interesting. We probably could. I'm not sure what the answer would be, to be honest with you. And then he's also asking, most expensive build you have ever done? Most expensive.
Well,
give us a nice highlight. Yeah, give us a highlight, club. Just something outrageously expensive.
It was sending probably 8 sets to Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins, that's right.
That was probably the 8 sets that we sent him.
What about just a single driver? Like, think of a driver setup that was just crazy expensive, or a set of irons, just like a single set.
I remember, actually it was at True Spec at the time when I was doing some fits with them in the summer of 2016. one of the customers really liked a Honma driver. It was like a Honma Brez.
The gold one.
And we literally, like, he bought the Honma Brez gold one, ripped out the shaft,
yeah,
and then put in, like, you know, it was a Grand Bassara at the time that he wanted, but he literally, like, ripped out a super expensive shaft to put in an expensive shaft. So that, I think he had to buy the driver for like $4,000, and then
was it $4,000? Rick Shields, did it cost $4,000? Poor guy. $4,000. It cost $4,000.
$4,000 driver. I get that though. Like, it's so hard to get your head around.
Oh, I had to laugh. He's such a good sport in the comments. Like, he just got ripped. Hey Rick, how many times did you say $4,000? He's like, a lot. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I've got one ready for you if you
want.
Go
for it, my man.
Jason is asking about hybrid shaft recommendations for someone who plays C-Taper 130X.
Hybrid recommendation?
Hi. Hybrid shaft recommendation. C-Taper 130X in the irons. Heavy, stiff.
Yeah. A loader.
10C white, who's 100 TX situation?
Yeah, it would be one of them. A DI 105, probably a hazardous 105, and there's well 6.5, but you might even be looking at tipping some of those a little bit more as well.
To make them play as stiff.
Yeah, especially for that type of player. You could look at Ghost Tour X as another good option.
This is the best. You gotta take this one. Reese is saying, why the hell does my Epic Flash Sub-Zero driver have 3 diamonds on the heel, but my buddy's doesn't? Love that. Awesome. Reese, you have a triple diamond. It's still on their website, no?
Yep.
So go to their website, Reese, and Epic Flash Triple Diamond is a limited run model. It's different head shape, different spin characteristics.
Tour inspired.
It's tour inspired. If it works well for you, then great. If you're struggling with it, then that might be why. It is a different animal. Okay. Let's grab a few more. I did request that people pump the brakes, which they have done. I think we just have a couple more to grab, and then we'll get filming.
Okay, my man.
Colin is asking. Colin is a beast. He swings 128 miles an hour with his driver. Someone said I should try switching from Dynamic Gold X100 to AMT X100. Anything wrong with this?
Lots wrong with it.
Ian says a lot is wrong with it.
Yeah. They will be too weak. No question.
He needs to play X7s or something.
You're not who that is designed for. Yeah, you need to go into X7s. You know, you need to at least look at hard-stepped X1s or X7s. X7s is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
No-brainer.
Why not? Why the hell not?
Why not? Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. You got one more?
I think we've not get into many of the actual. I wouldn't mind doing a little quick fire round with.
Do a sweep at the end. Yeah, let's do it,
guys. No more. Try to hold the super chat. So next week we want to do a little.
Let's do a speed round.
A little sweep through these.
Where do you want me to start? I'll go up here.
Okay, just wherever you see them.
I'm going to take one here quickly. Michael's asking, is there software you can manually input swing data and see what ball flights? Yes, FlightScope has an optimizer software.
Yes.
Go to their website.
It's really good.
To you.
Jumbo Max played by Bryson DeChambeau. Thoughts? Wait for the video. Wait for the video.
Gotcha.
We've got them coming.
We'll test them. Okay. What is your favorite budget-friendly softer ball that has decent spin around the greens? Budget-friendly, I would say you need to go direct to consumer, probably.
Probably. I mean, Tour Response would be in that bracket now, I think.
Fair enough. I got a lot of people saying it's very expensive outside of North America. Like in Australia, TP5 costs almost the same as Tour Response. I've heard that a bunch of times because of their duties and stuff. I mean, Srixon balls are very reasonable, aren't they? Like a Z-Star, they're always very reasonable. I would look at those. That's my answer. To you.
Low spinning, soft golf ball. Lowest spinning, soft golf ball.
AVX?
AVX, no question, eh?
Done. Okay. I will grab. Do you carry Mira IC 601 irons for fittings?
Yes.
Okay, to you.
$750 for a new driver. new head with stock shaft or last year's head with aftermarket shaft. Here's a question. I'll throw that back to you guys for a little 5-minute little piece of research for me. If we had, and this is going to be an interesting one, so let me throw it out there that there will be excess 2020 stock available. New heads will be launched in 2021. We know that. Right. Companies will have too much stock of 2020 stock.
Yes.
Would the consumers be interested in coming into a store like a TXG, having access to a previous year's model,
1 year prior,
which may save them $300, and be able to invest that in the shaft and the fit and the whole deal, which allows them to net spend less?
There's no way anyone's going to say no.
But a lot of people like the modern driver, like they want to just play kind of
you'd have both. You'd have both.
We would have both.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see any downside from the consumer perspective. I think for you, obviously, tougher to inventory it, but
it looks like it's going to be easier than than ever before because there's so much stock.
Sure.
So, like, talking to OEMs and sort of what they have left. I mean, they're going to be left with so many more than ever before.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking at it as a business owner and as something where we can maybe offer more value in that. Okay, we'll handpick the ones that we think are best, where we can maybe invest in what we believe is the most important part, which is the fit.
Of course.
Making sure that the head shaft combo is right and give someone the ability to play a driver that maybe would necessarily be outside their price range because of this situation. Let's take a negative and turn it into a positive.
It's true. You could save 20, 30% and do it. Love it. Okay. You got a bunch of yeses. Just yes, 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 please, yes. Good. Love it, yes.
Good. Yeah, guys, it's going to be an interesting one. 2021 will be an interesting PGA show, if there even is one. I think there's a reasonable shout at this minute because they are planning that stuff already. They may not risk it, and there may not be a PGA show there. There may be, I don't mean, who knows what product
maybe
launch
like
is
a
going to look
virtual
like.
kind of thing. The PGA show is thousands and thousands of people. Every conference is thousands of people coming into close contact, eating together, going out to dinner, staying in the same hotels. So we want to go, but if it doesn't happen, I wouldn't be shocked. All right. Okay. Happy with that speed round?
Happy with the little speed round.
Okay.
Let's see what's on the
little preview
docket for today, my man.
Preview. This clock moved, by the way, while we were. Went up 100.
Guys, if you're watching this live and you're not a subscriber, do us a favor and make sure you subscribe.
For the love of all that is good.
Please, it's made a big, big difference. In the last 3 days, we've seen such an elevation in subs and that sort of thing. And we really want to keep the momentum going. Let's keep driving that forward. It means a lot to basically our business and our ability to have sort of options to bring you guys more information.
That's the big one.
It really is.
I say this all the time, like, is it cool to say, hey, our channel has 100,000 subscribers? Yes, but that's just like a little feather in the cap.
Yeah.
The bigger picture is, the bigger the thing grows, the more access we have to everything, the more budget we can spend on equipment and time. Like, the channel just gets better. That's the more important thing. Yeah. I don't want people to think it's a vanity thing. I mean, I would love to see this say 100,000. It'd be cool, but
I mean, 100,000, 200,000, like all of those things are cool. It's more just to be in the conversation when it comes to having access to these unique events. And that becomes like, you guys are our leverage.
I know.
You truly are leverage. So
even like stuff like, people are always like, film on course more, go to this course, go to this course. If you're not really well known, I've heard some really interesting stories from some very high level, even Mark Crossfield told me, he's like, a couple courses I wanted to go film at, they're like, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
And he's one of the biggest names.
I get that all the time. People are like, who are TXG?
And we're like,
and it's not like we're not sort of certainly driven by ego in any which way, but
no.
I just take that as feedback that we need to do a better job of getting it out there that, this is sort of who we are.
A little more awareness would help us get our foot in the door and the things that would make better videos. That is the Cole's Notes.
Okay. Today, there is 2 agendas today. There is a YouTube agenda.
Okay.
There's an IGTV agenda.
Oh, I love it.
So, guys, if you don't follow us on Instagram, you are basically going to be missing out on half of our content.
Oh, jeez.
Because there's going to be, so we've got some. So I'll just because this is the first time we've ever done IGTV specific videos. There's a schedule for that. We're going to test leather grips versus rubber grips.
Really?
Yep.
Leather.
Leather.
Oh, luxury.
I think you're going to love these. I actually think there's a reasonable chance, because your hands tend to sweat a little bit.
Sweaty bastard in my hands.
There's every chance when you do this, you'll be like, get me a set of these.
Don't they get all crunchy after time?
They go the opposite. They get better.
Have I died?
You will love these, and I know you will. 3 things you need to know about changing lie angles.
Love it.
Right?
Don't tell them what it is.
I know, I nearly did, but I won't. 3 things you guys need to know about changing lie angles, implications, that type of thing.
Love it.
And there's going to be FSX challenge from Matty and I today on IGTV. So there will be, I'll figure it out. We'll be doing something on FSX.
I love it.
So, guys, if you don't subscribe to us or you don't have Instagram, just go start an account. You know, and you can follow us on there.
Make this number move. Boof.
Yeah, let's get that number up. 23,660. We want to really drive that number up. Want to see if we can get that up. So make sure you subscribe to us on Instagram.
And here.
And on YouTube as well.
Please. Hi, there it is.
Let's see what else. I think this will be a good one. On the topic of, do distance golf balls go further?
I'm looking forward to this one. Very looking forward.
I think that one will be interesting.
A golf ball that's marketed as, you'll hit this further, does it actually go further than what, like a tour level ball or whatever the hell that means?
Correct. Because obviously there's always been that conversation of, oh, it's a distance golf ball, this one will really go forever. Well, does it?
I know.
Because the construction of it might lead you to think otherwise, but there might be cases where it does and cases where it doesn't, so we can maybe speak specifically to the players who could benefit from it.
Hi.
So,
good. Oh, David, new member.
David.
We'll finish on that positive note. We will see you guys this coming Monday for another live session.
I'm going to address this quickly. Crusher, it's a pain in the arse to have to watch your content on more than one platform. Oh. Come on, dude. It's not that. If it's that hard of a, that much of a hardship, then
pick one.
Pick one or the other. But it's not that.
It can't be that hard,
difficult.
Bud. It cannot be that hard. There's a point to it. YouTube is long form, Instagram is short form. That's why we do it. It's not just for
pick and choose.
It's not for no reason.
Pick and choose.
Okay.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
We will see you guys.
Monday.
Yep. See you Monday.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching.